Okay. Give me just 1 second. All right, do you see a PowerPoint? It says Construction 101?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. All right. So I'm gonna act like there's a big old crowd here, okay?
All right, that's fine.
All right. All right, so my name is Angie Dodd. I am the CEO and founder of Ability Bookkeeping and Business Solutions, LLC. We specialize in bookkeeping mainly for contractors or contractors adjacent. This is a little bit outdated. I have over 19 years of experience now, and I've held every job from accounting clerk to cook or controller and everything in between. I've never been a CFO and I don't want to be, but I do offer CFO services.
Okay.
I have an associate's in accounting, bachelor's in finance, and I am certified in QuickBooks. I'm actually an advanced certification there. I am a certified Xero consultant, certified with T-Sheets. Just got my HubDoc certification, and I'm working on receiving one. And there's just a little bit about me, my whys. Those are my two daughters, Tessa and Lily, and my dad is in there. And you see a picture of my big old dog Palin and my two kittens, Kit Kat, both with a K like the candy bar. I had a bag of Kit Kats in my car the day I adopted them, so it was that or Anna and Elsa, and so they're Kit and Kat.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know how familiar you are with bookkeeping for construction, but it's a little bit different than a lot of other industries. Mainly because construction is project driven. You're not manufacturing the same widget day after day, so you don't have production cost or anything like that, but you do have projects and you have to have a way to classify them to where you know what projects you're making money on and which ones you're not. Especially this really applies to general contractors when they're doing all types of different sub workout and they need to classify it by electrical or plumbing or whatever, drywall, framing, whatever it is. They need to know where they're making their best money at. Another difficult thing that you guys face is that often you have multiple projects going on in multiple locations. I have one client that has 10 crews going around the city at any given time, so I track 10 different jobs for him every single day. The other big thing is short-term and long-term projects. I don't know if you face this too much as a roofer, but a lot of your projects are probably more short-term and you're dealing with insurance companies, so you're going to get paid. But a lot of longer-term projects, I have one that's building an apartment building right now, so he's dealing with like retainage payable, retainage receivable. He's got to really manage his cash flow. Since some of the jobs can take months, he uses progressive invoicing so that he can get paid in stages of work. And so he puts in a job, I think it's every 2 weeks, he does 10% of the total cost. That way he can keep paying his employees. It's very, very important for cash flow. Short term, it's not as important for cash flow, but if you're just starting out, do you have the cash in the bank to go and buy all of the materials for the job, or do you need the customer to put some money down? I always recommend having a client put some type of money down. It makes them have some skin in the game. I actually recommend that contractors, I agree with Brian on this, you guys should charge to go out and give quotes. You're wasting an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on where you're driving to give a quote for a job. Have them, even if it's $50, have them just to where they're not going around kicking tires and saying, oh, look, I'm at home, I'm grown and I'm bored. And so I'm going to call 50 different contractors and have them all come out to my house.
Yeah, I've done a lot of those appointments.
That's happening a lot right now. And then going back to that, if you do have them pay a down payment or a quote fee, just make sure that they know that it applies if they pick you to do the job. That goes towards their invoice. Let's see. Other big things, job costing. So you have your projects, your cost type, your cost activities. Actually tracking this down to the detail will actually help you have more accurate estimates and budgeting later on. And it helps ensure that you won't run into any cash flows. And then there's a couple of different ways that construction billing or progressive billing is handled on long-term projects. and you're probably familiar with these. You have the fixed price, which is based on the estimate and billed at the completion percentage. So 33% down, 66% down on completion or whatever it is. Most important thing is you have to have an accurate estimate in there because you don't want to go in at the end and be like, oh yeah, it was an extra $4,000. You guys should always bid with some type of, I don't want to say retainage, what's the word I'm looking for? Just to cover things that pop up in construction. I cannot think of the word that I'm trying to think of for the life of me. That's why I should put that thing or things like this in the slide. It'll come to me. The other type is unit price. This is based on materials and labor incurred during the billing period. And so say you work from the 1st through the 15th of the month, you send out an invoice for what's been completed up until that point. Again, you have to have accurate estimates in place to make sure that the customer doesn't think that you're nickel and diming them over extra screws or, an extra thing of shingles or whatever it is.
Would unit price be similar to cost plus?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. It's very similar to that. Fixed price, you pretty much know what you're going to charge for the entire job up front.
Yeah.
And you bill them a percentage of the total estimate. Unit price is pretty much cost plus, and then you're going to be billing them as the job gets done.
Okay.
So typical construction bookkeeping, I included this slide because if you ever decide to go with a bookkeeper, they need to know what every single one of these things are. This is a good questionnaire to drill down on them, make sure that they are comfortable with construction bookkeeping, because it is quite different from normal bookkeeping, say e-commerce or wholesale or anything like that. Give me just a second, I got something on my screen there. Okay. So there's accounts payable, accounts receivable. Those are pretty standard. Everybody knows what those are. You have construction loans, your custom job report, detailed job budgets, equipment tracking. I don't know if you deal with a lot of that, but I have a client who rents out heavy equipment, and he has 250 machines, and there's equipment tracking on every single one of them. Geofencing. Oh, we got somebody else here. Welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, are you there? Hey, so we started going through this a little bit, but it's all going to be recorded, so you can catch the first 10 minutes or so on the recording. We haven't went over too much yet.
Oh, perfect.
So we have, right now we're just going through a list of things that are beneficial. If you ever hire a bookkeeper, they should know all of the things on the screen. So let's see, we're down to flexible billing, general ledger accounting, inventory, job cost management, payroll, subcontract status, purchase orders, retainage payable and retainage receivable. That's more applicable to GCs, but you guys might have to deal with that if you're ever working with clients or with a GC who's got you in retainage payable. And then works in progress. Okay. So this screen is kind of self-explanatory if you guys want to go back and look at it later. Pretty much you need to know how much money you're making on jobs. Larger percentages do not actually use, or sorry, large percentage of contractors don't actually use job costing though, because honestly, it's kind of a pain. But once you start using it, the more and more you use it, the easier it gets, because the software actually starts learning some of your behaviors. So having a good estimate in place is just key. You're going to keep your clients happy. You don't ever want to make that phone call that you owe them an extra, or that they owe you an extra $4,000. It's a hard phone call on both sides of it. Believe me, I've been there. Let's see. I'll let you go through that one if you want. It's just kind of a nice little picture. But this.
I got a question about that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
An estimate, is that just what it is? An estimate? Like, it is subject to change. Am I not mistaken?
It is. But the closer your estimates are to your actual billing, one, you're going to have much happier customers because you don't ever want to go and say that's going to cost more. And the second is to contingency. That's the word I was thinking of earlier. I always advise all my contractors to build in say a 10% contingency fee. And then if you don't end up using that 10%, then the customer gets that back. It's just, hey, I think this is gonna cost $5,000. I wanna build 10% in there unless we find something hidden in the walls, that type of thing. But yes, the estimates do change. The less you can change them, the better. Happier customers, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. I'm sure you've made those phone calls with clients before. They're not easy phone calls to make. And I've had those from contractors. They're not easy calls to receive either. It's better if you can be upfront with your billing as close to possible. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so just kind of right off the top, construction bookkeeping tips. Utilize accounts receivable and accounts payable. First of all, on accounts receivable, all the way from the time you give the quote or estimate, all the way to invoicing, make sure you're using some type of computer generated invoice or quote to make it look professional. And second, and I don't know why people struggle with this, but make sure that your invoices are sent out on a timely basis. If you do work for, say you come and do a job for me and you did it November 15th, if you send me an invoice today that says net 30, even if it's dated November 15th, you didn't send it to me until today. I'm not going to pay you for 30 days. Just make sure that they're sent out like when you do it. And I don't know why, but a lot of contractors, well, everyone struggles with this one. I've actually had to call people and beg for a bill so I could pay them, and it's aggravating. Second point on top of that, to make sure that they're sent out, make sure that you stay on top of collections. Once things get past a year old, it's really, really hard to do anything with them. And all of your contracts should have a lien wrote into them where you can actually put a lien on the property until they pay you. That's very, very important for contractors. Utilize accounts payable. So a lot of people, especially if they're on a cash basis, you get a bill, you just pay it because you don't want to worry about it. You don't want to forget about it. It's really important for your cash flow. Put it in an AP. Your AP will tell you when it's due, and then you can pay it as it's due and not send out money before you have to. On AP, make sure that you itemize all your bills and classify them correctly. That way you've got good job costing. And most importantly, keep all expenses. There are a lot of digital options to keep all of your receipts. If you have QuickBooks Online, there's a free option to be able to snap the receipt, and it automatically syncs over to QBO. And then you can throw it on the floorboard like you always do. But just take that.
That's on QuickBooks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, QuickBooks.
Okay. You we're saying when we're itemizing bills and classify items correctly and whatnot. You know, an issue I've had. I'm new to this contracting.
Okay.
You know, on my own.
You're cutting out.
An issue I'm having is remembering. Let's see if I step outside. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better. Oh, now you went all the way away. Okay.
I cut off the Wi-Fi.
That's better.
Okay. Sorry, I'm working at the same time.
That's okay.
So take my example now. I'm working on a building that's got 20 units, right? And so, you know, as each unit becomes vacant, I'm going in to work on it and whatnot. An issue I'm having, you know, without having to go back and look at the invoices is remembering what I charge for what job.
Okay.
You know, so, you know, let's say painting a ceiling, for example, right? You know, I have to go back and look at my invoices. Is there a program out there maybe I'm not aware of that where I can sit there and, you know, say for like this building, I know they're all the same size with each unit, a program where I can go ahead and list this.
Yeah, actually you can do that inside of QBO. You go in and you build out, it's in their inventory table, but this would be a service. It's still in the same place. But it's under sales and service, and you just go and you would set up, say, a 10 by 10 room painting, and then you would fill out what your price is for that. And you could have one for a 12 by 12. You could have one for 800 square foot studio apartment or whatever it is. And you can just set all of those up, and then whenever you're writing your estimates, you know, you just put in the name of it and it automatically pull in your price. And you can set up
Perfect.
different types of paint or whatever.
And you said that's with QBO, QuickBooks Office?
Yes, QuickBooks Online.
You're like the third person, oh, online. You're like the third person today to recommend that to me.
That's what I have all of my contractors in. I also do bookkeeping and Zero, but it's not great for bookkeepers. Or not bookkeepers. It's great for bookkeepers. Sorry, it's not great for contractors. I find that QBO is a lot easier to work in. And if you're ever interested in that, I actually have, since I'm an affiliate of them, I get wholesale pricing. And so I can get half off of your normal value. So say.
And is that a one-time fee or a subscription fee?
It's a subscription. So say you got their second to most expensive package, which is I think $70 a month. I get it for $35. So I actually get half off of whatever it is. And I have a few contractors that's all they do through me is just get their wholesale billing.
Got you. And then if I order an accountant, if I hire an accountant or someone to do my books for me, they have access to it as well. So that way, from wherever they're at.
Yes, and you can also set up, if you have a crew and you want them to track time in there, you can give them time tracker access. And it's got geofencing and all of that. And so you can make sure your guys are at the site doing the work instead of, you know, down at the pancake house having breakfast, which happens.
Yeah, that seems to be the issue I'm having now.
So
they come, they show up, drop their tools off, and go have breakfast. I'm like, hello.
That's common amongst your trade. All right. So most importantly, when you're talking about accounts payable, so stuff that you've and not even accounts payable, but just expenses in general, make sure that you keep all of your receipts, because if you do ever get audited by the IRS, a bank statement does not count as proof as the IRS. They will disregard anything that is only off of a bank statement. They want to see a receipt for it. And that's why I suggest QuickBooks, because you can snap the receipt and it's there and you're done with it. Okay.
And that'll suffice with the IRS, a photo of the receipt instead of the actual receipt?
Yep, because it has everything on there. It has the date, it has the items purchased, the card number used, it has everything there. So yeah, they do take that. They actually prefer the electronic stuff to the paper stuff. The last audit I had to go through, I had awesome records. So awesome that the auditor was really, really mad because he's like, you have like 12 inches worth of paper for me to go through. I'm like, well, yeah, you asked for it. And he couldn't find a single thing wrong. And he was like really, really mad by the end of it. But hey, he asked for it.
So they need to be attached to each individual job, or is it?
No, so when they come into QuickBooks, you can actually classify them right there. And if you have everything broke out by project or class, you can classify it. Or if you don't, you can just put in what it's for and classify the transaction that way.
Okay.
But as long as you have a copy of the receipt come audit time, they're happy. Well, they're never happy. They're IRS auditors, but they're as happy as they can be.
Gotcha.
All right. So I'm going to dive into some practical tips. I don't know if both of you have already formed an LLC or if you're filing as a sole proprietor. If you're if you're only a sole proprietor, go out and file an LLC tomorrow. There's a huge reason for this. You guys work in construction. You're working on people's, most of the time, their houses, which is their biggest asset. Your workers can fall and get hurt or whatever the reason. If you get sued as a sole proprietor, they can come and take your truck, your house, your money. If you're an LLC, you have a corporate veil there and they can only sue the LLC for its assets. That's why a lot of business owners don't have company trucks or things like that on the company's books, because if they were ever sued, those things could be taken. So get an LLC. It's not that expensive. You can actually do it all on your own. I did not. I am not a lawyer and I did not want to deal with that paperwork. I went through Legal Shield's launch program. It's $145 plus state filing fees. And it gets you a lawyer for 90 days. So I was all for it. They read through all my contracts, made everything legal, binding, and all of that. Okay, next thing. Buy the right insurance for your business. At a minimum, you should have an auto policy if you have an auto in the business, your commercial policy and a workman's comp policy, and a general liability, which is usually your commercial policy. General liability is cheap. Get it? It will cover you in case of that you are ever sued. You will have some legal protection there. Your general liability will actually pay for you to hire a lawyer and go to court. So it's very important to have.
Do I still need workers' comp if my contractors are paid cash?
No, but speaking of that, if you pay your contractors cash, say day laborers that you're picking up at Home Depot, so you go and take $800 out of the bank to pay 4 guys for the day, you cannot deduct that $800. The only way that you can pay a contractor is if they fill out a W-9 and you're paying them, regularly. If they don't make over $600, you don't have to fill out a 1099 for them, but you do need to make sure everybody that you're hiring fills out a W-9 for you. Otherwise, you can't deduct that money that you pay them.
Oh man, that's fudge.
You don't have to do it like before you pay them. They just have to do it sometime in the year. So like tomorrow would be great.
Yeah, well, like I know, like my one guy, he can't do paperwork.
Yeah, so you're actually gonna have to take that money as an owner's draw, and you're gonna pay taxes on it.
Okay.
Which sucks, I know, but it is what it is. When you're small, most of you guys don't have health insurance for your employees. I don't recommend having health insurance for your employees when you're smaller. Once you get bigger and you want to grow your business and scale it, you're going to want to make sure you have good employees on board, and it's important to build those employee loyalty programs. Health insurance is a great way to do that. Short-term liability, long-term liability, that type of thing, or not liability, disability, sorry. Just talk to a good insurance guy. If you guys don't have someone, reach out to me and let me know. I'm in the B&I group here, and I have 3 excellent insurance people here that can do anything in Texas. But if you're in another state and you have questions, they can refer you to their counterpart in another state. They all 3 do insurance for me, and I trust them wholeheartedly. And one of them's hilarious. He's an old guy who speaks his mind. It's very funny. All right, enough about that. Okay, here's probably one of the most important things I'm going to tell you besides form an LLC is if you are paying for company expenses with your credit card or your personal credit card, stop. And if you're paying for personal stuff with your company card, stop. When you do that and you have an LLC, you have punctured the corporate veil, and then all of your stuff is up for grabs again in court. So file an LLC, keep your business and your personal expenses separate, or else you're going to puncture that veil and you'll no longer have the legal protection. Again, keep track of all the receipts. I always just tell people CYA. I'm sure you guys know that to cover your ass. The IRS will not accept your bank or credit card statements. Okay, let's see here. Track time for all projects and tasks. You have a question? Yeah.
Yeah. So, say we have a supplier, say ABC Supply. They send me a bill. I do it electronically. On the internet. I just pay it. I don't send checks or anything. I just pay it online. Do I have to have receipts for that, or I keep track of that with my, so I have my credit card, my business credit card hooked up to my business bank account, and it's all in QuickBooks.
Okay.
And so when that comes, I just tag it over. I pay it on the credit card, tag it over, pay the credit card off.
All company money?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the actual bill?
I mean, I can get it from them.
Yeah, I would definitely get the bill. And you can attach those in QuickBooks. So if they email it to you, you can just
Mhm.
transfer it right over to QuickBooks. There's an option, you can email it, or you can upload it, or you can snap a picture of it. They make it really easy to get it in there. But yeah, I would get those because the IRS has up to 7 years to audit you. And if you try to contact a company and ask for records from 7 years ago, they're just gonna laugh at you.
Yeah.
I mean, they're supposed to keep them, but it's people change systems.
So that is a receipt that you have to keep track of.
Yes, the bills
Okay.
for cost of goods, absolutely.
Okay.
I want to make sure
that's something I
I
just don't keep track of.
just want to make sure I caught your question. You said you pay for what you need with your regular credit card, and then you use
No, I
your
have
company.
I have a business account and a business credit card.
Okay,
I pay for it with my business credit card because I get points,
right.
and then I pay off my credit card bill.
Got you.
Yeah, and that's all fine, paying off the company credit card with company checking account, that's all good. Just make sure you get those bills. Most, if you're using the same vendor over and over again, just ask them to set you up to where they automatically email you a copy of it. And then
Okay.
once you deal with them, they'll do
But,
that. You can
yeah,
even do that,
they do email me all my copies of all my bills and my receipts.
okay,
I
yeah,
just,
as long as you
just-
have them somewhere to where
yeah, I
you
just
can
don't.
locate them, you're good.
Yeah, I just don't take them and like put them inside QuickBooks.
You don't have to do that. It
Okay.
just it's easier, like if you're going to the gas station, you stop and get gas. Every contractor I know, every single one throws that shit on the floor.
That's exactly what I do. I throw it away immediately.
Yeah, all I ask, snap a picture of it first and then throw it on the floor.
Okay. All right.
I do the same thing. Believe me, I'm terrible at keeping receipts too.
Yeah,
I admit that because I'm a bookkeeper, but
Yeah, I didn't know that we had to actually keep track of all the receipts since it's all connected into my bank account. And
Yeah.
when you go in, you can say, hey, this is for gas.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
IRS just won't accept that. They want actual copies of receipts or bills or invoices.
Okay.
They're just really persnickety about that. They used to take bank statements a long time ago.
Yeah.
Haven't
Okay.
done it for probably 10, 12 years now. Okay, so we talked about tracking time for all projects. If you use QuickBooks, they have a T-Sheets integration, which is what I was talking about, where you can go and put geofences around your work sites and then have your employees clock in when they get there. And if they try to clock in outside of that work site, it's not going to let them. And if they go out of it, you should get a notification saying your employee is no longer at the job site. Now that might be for good purposes. You might have sent them to Lowe's or whatever. And speaking of Lowe's, you just talked about the email. I want to make sure you guys know, if you set up an account with one of the big box stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, any of the Ace, they can set you up to automatically receive emails of your invoices. And if you set up that QBO email, they can automatically email it there. You can give them that. They can also set you up with the correct sales tax, which this is something a lot of people struggle with, contractors and others alike. Typically, sales tax is only supposed to be paid by the end user of a product. So most of the time, that would be your clients. They're going to be paying sales tax on their invoices. If you're not supposed to be paying sales tax, and I'm not familiar with all 50 states' laws, but do some research, see if you're supposed to be paying sales tax on things that you buy, your shingles or your paint or whatever it is. And if you're not, then set up those sales tax accounts so that you're not paying that extra money and the state's not getting paid twice. Because I don't like the states getting paid twice.
I don't like them getting paid once.
Well, there you go. Okay, so this is kind of more beyond just bookkeeping, but when you own your own business, and I struggle with this as well, you're the boss. You actually own something. There's nobody around to tell you what to do. There's nobody around to make sure there's going to be money in the bank to pay your employees next time. You have to think beyond the next job. You're responsible for paying your own taxes, for figuring out your own retirement, and most importantly, you need to develop a business that can not only survive but thrive. And what I mean is, your business needs to be able to make just as much money when you're not on the job site. You need to be able to be at a place where you're out bidding jobs and you have a crew that's working the jobs that you've got. I know that's hard to do. As a business owner, it's very hard to step away and relinquish control sometimes. It's even harder to find good employees that you trust that much. But spend the time and actually find people who care about your business as much as you do and treat them well to where they stay with your business. So beyond that, be proactive, plan for the future. Once you get big enough, think about your employees' retirement and their health insurance and that stuff as well. Because once you get a good employee, you want to keep them. Set aside money for future costs. We're going to go over this in a future slide, so I'm not going to deep dive into that too much. Mostly just get to a position where you're not reacting every day. If you spend 6 days out of 7 reacting to the chaos that is life, your business is going to fail. You have to get to a point where you're being proactive and making the choices instead of just reacting to shit that happens. Sorry, there's no better way to put that. Okay, so this is what I was talking about when I said we weren't going to go too much into that, so we're going over to another slide. So if I ask you guys what's profit, most people would say that's your revenue minus your expenses, right? That's your profit. This is something I preach to all of my new contractors is think about it in a different way. Think sales minus profit equals expenses. This forces you to put profit into the first part of the equation. And the way that this looks is, so when you go and you bid a job, 5% is going to be profit. That's going to stay in your company for rainy days, future growth, bonuses, tools, equipment, all of that good stuff, right? 5% off of every job. 50%, yeah. 50% needs to go into your pocket. You are the owner, you are the best employee. 50% of every job should go to you. This is where most people struggle. 15%, Uncle Sam, everybody knows that, right? 30% should be the top that you're spending on operating expenses. So material costs, cost of labor, overhead costs, all of that combined should be 30% of any job that you did. It's hard to get to this, but it's not impossible. Almost all of my contractors are already there. What you have to do is you have to ease up on the expenses and ease up on the owner's compensation a little bit by a little bit on each job. So decrease the spending, increase the money into your pocket each time. Keep that 5% profit every single time, and the 15% to Uncle Sam every single time.
There's a book on this.
Huh?
There's a book on that. Profit first, right?
Yes.
Michael.
Really weird last name. Yes.
Yeah.
His book is actually free on Audible this month. So
what's the name of the book?
Profit First.
Profit First.
Profit First.
It's a very, very good book, and it actually will go pretty much into any industry, but it's almost like it was specifically written for construction. It just fits so well here.
Okay.
Yeah, so the only two that are at all lenient on there are owner's compensation and operating expenses. And it gives you some incentive, because if you're taking home less money because you're spending more on expenses, you're going to naturally cut down on expenses. But you've got to keep that 5% profit in the business and 15% for Uncle Sam. Those two things, you've got to have money for a rainy day. Winters come around, you don't have as much work. It's too hot to do a roof. Shingles are melting or scarring up when you walk on them. You just got to have that money set aside to keep you through the lean times. So that is probably the most important thing in this entire presentation besides form an LLC. All right, so I'm going to go over now. Welcome to sales pitch time, guys. I'm not actually going to try to sell you on this, but I'm going to try to make you see the importance of this. All right, so we're going to look at the numbers of a typical contractor, and we're going to call him Bob. We're going to call him Bob because my dad's name is Bob, and he's a contractor. So let's say that Bob spends 50 hours a week working on his business and he bills clients at $100 an hour. Now, if Bob spends approximately 5 hours working on his bookkeeping and accounting tasks, or receipt management, bill pay, invoicing, etc., that is 5 weekly hours, and a 52-hour week equates to 260 hours or $26,000 annually that he's giving up by not being with his clients. Another way of putting that is that's 6.5 weeks in a 40-hour work week that he could be out bidding jobs and growing his business. But instead, he's sitting at home doing paperwork because his daughter hadn't graduated college yet and wasn't his bookkeeper yet. Now she is. But anyway, so Bob needs a bookkeeper, but hiring in-house most of the time for a good skilled bookkeeper isn't going to save any money. Outsourcing your books can save thousands in just 1 year. So I'm going to tell you, most of my contractors are at $300 a month, and I handle everything from their estimates to their invoicing, their AP. Payroll is usually a little bit extra unless you're doing it yourself, and then I'll just enter your journal entries from a provider. But usually about $300 a month, and you don't have to worry about any of the crap paperwork. And I can say that because I do it every day. It really does save a lot of time, and it allows you to invest in your business where you can go out and bid jobs, make more money, keep your crew busy, and you don't have to worry about any of this. Okay, so
One question.
Yes.
Do you work in CRMs?
Depends which one.
Job Nimbus?
I haven't worked in that one, but I probably could learn it.
Okay.
I'm pretty tech savvy, so I can look into it. How do you spell it?
Job Nimbus, JOBNIMBUS.
Okay. I thought that's what you said. I just wanted to check.
Yeah.
I'll look at it after this meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. All right. So you guys absolutely don't need to pick me, but I do urge you to meet with some bookkeeper. And here's the guidelines for doing this. You want somebody who can do more than just enter and classify your transactions and prepare your financial statements. All of that is automated now. You hook up your accounts to the bank feed. That's all automatically in there. All you got to do is classify it, and statement preparation is just a few clicks. You need to look for someone who, one, understands all of the things on one of the first slides that I showed you guys about all the different construction bookkeeping, but also somebody who can look at your P&L or your balance sheet or your statement of cash flows and explain what it actually means. Because most of the time, business owners don't have enough bookkeeping and accounting knowledge to look at those numbers and know what they truly mean. But yeah, you see a net profit or a P&L with a net profit of, say, $200,000 in 1 month, and then you're wondering, well, why do I only have $15,000 in the bank? Well, you need to look at your statement of cash flows and see how it's all coming together. And most accountants and bookkeepers don't even look at the statement of cash flows, but to me, it's one of the key things, and we'll go over that a little bit more. Let's see. So they need to be able to interpret, give you advice, tell you what's working, what's not, what you should steer clear from, what you should, do more of. And then hopefully, like, my goal with all of my clients is to become a trusted advisor. I love when you guys call me and say, hey, I've got this big job coming up. I just don't know if I can make enough money. Can you run the numbers? And I'll run a budget for you and see if you think it's logical to do it. Okay, so you guys can schedule a time with me. I do provide an all in-depth free consultation. It's usually between an hour and 2 hours where we meet, we discuss what your current workflow looks like, what's working, what's not, what are your short-term goals, what are your long-term goals, what can I actually help you with, what are you looking for, that kind of thing. The other thing, and I should include this on the previous slide and I forgot, if you run into a bookkeeper who owns their own business like I do, and they try to charge you hourly, run the other freaking direction. Okay? You know how many hours a roof is going to take you. So you put that into your job, right? When you go to quote a job, you know how much it's going to cost you. You put that in there. As a bookkeeper, I should know too. If I don't, and I charge hourly, that means I can sit there and run the clock, and you're going to get a surprise bill at the end of the month. That puts all of the risk on you. Any good bookkeeper worth their weight will give you flat value-based pricing, and it's that way for a year. All of my clients, we renegotiate after a year, but most of them stay about the same, or even had one go down. That's just my personal 2 cents. I hate bookkeepers who charge by the hour because it gives all of us a bad name. But if you go with me, I do provide unlimited phone and email and text support, no extra charge. I actually guarantee that I'll get back to you within 1 business day, or you receive the whole month free. That is probably my biggest pet peeve in the world, is calling a company and not getting an answer back for a week. It drives me nuts. So much so that I put it into my contract. I will call you back within a day, usually about 10 minutes. But see, each month I go over all of your financials with you in an hour-long Zoom call. You can ask whatever questions you have, address any concerns, work on some budgeting, whatever you need to do. Right now I'm running a special where I offer the first 3 months at $300 a month. And then after that, once we get a better working knowledge, do I drive with you? Do you drive with me? Do we work well together? Then we can discuss a change in the rate. I've only had to change the rate on 1 client, and that was my client I was telling you about, that he has 10 different crews going to 10 different job sites every single day, and it's pretty much a full-time job for me. So yes, his price did go up. I actually do CFO services for him. And lastly, I provide custom service. I know that all of the businesses are different. A lot of contractors, they don't use AP. So I'm not going to charge you for AP if you don't use it. I will suggest you use it because it's good for your business. But I'm going to look
What was
at
that? What did you say?
that not all businesses you would use AP, accounts payable.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I need to quit
That's okay.
speaking in jargon. A lot of companies don't use that because they just operate on a cash basis. They get the electrical bill in, they pay the electric bill. Doesn't matter if it's 20 days early. They're just going to get rid of their cash early. I recommend highly against that. But I do actually go over what your company needs and build a custom plan for that. I have like 5 different levels of service that I do. The lowest one being just kind of review. Every month you'll do all of the bookkeeping. I'll go in and reconcile, make sure things are in the right spots and that everything looks right. That's like $100 a month. And then I have my typical bookkeeping, which is around $300, all the way up to like CFO services, which start around $1,200 a month. But you're not going to find a CFO for $1,200 a month either. So, and then I do consulting, QuickBooks training, all kinds of different things. So I really will work with you and get to know what works best for you. I'm not just going to try to sell you my biggest package because most people don't need that. All right. Let's see here. So yeah, I'm biased when it comes to the importance of bookkeeping. I'm a bookkeeper. Okay. We get that. But as a business owner, and I can speak to this firsthand now, but if you have ever went to try to get an auto loan or a business loan, or God forbid, a freaking mortgage, and you are self-employed, that shit is hard. You need spotless books to get a mortgage when you're an owner of a business. I mean, they are literally your bank statement or your pay statements. So they are very important. Also, if you ever go through an audit, and you won't know until you've gone through one with really, really bad books, how horrible it can be. And how much money it can cost your company. The fees and the fines and all of so say you had $10,000 that was due in taxes that you thought was due and you paid $10,000, and then the IRS comes and audits you and says, oh, well, no, you actually owed $20,000, and they disallow $10,000 worth of your taxes there. And so you actually do owe an additional $10,000. We'll say it's 3 years from now. They're going to add fines and penalties for a full 3 years worth of stuff. You're going to end up with probably $35,000 worth of tax debt. all because of $10,000. It really adds up really, really fast. My contact info is here. So if you want to reach out to me, it's Angie@abilitybookkeeping.com, or you can call or text my cell phone at 512-781-2657. You can also check out my website, www.abilitybookkeeping.com, or my Facebook, which is down there. It's on the slideshow if you guys really want to go to it. There's not much there. I don't spend a lot of time there. I tried to when I first started out, but I got really busy really fast. I don't have time to go look up cool articles for people to look at. So I mainly just talk on the phone and provide bookkeeping now. So yeah, what questions do you guys have?
So with the profit first model, so you don't recommend a salary?
It depends on, are you talking about for yourself?
Yeah.
It depends on how your business is set up. So if you're an S Corp, which is an election that you would file with an LLC, and it can definitely save you some money on taxes.
Yeah, I'm an S Corp.
Oh, you are? Okay. So you have to take a reasonable salary, which is what you would pay somebody off of the street to do your job. So yeah, you do need to take a salary. If you know your business is pretty consistent, except for winter. Where do you live at? Sorry.
Georgia.
Georgia. So you guys don't have a huge outage during the winter.
It slows down, but
yeah.
We still have work. Yeah.
Yeah, my ex-husband's up in Missouri, so there's like 2.5 months where there's nothing.
Yeah.
And then it gets so hot during the summer, it's nothing. So I'm guessing summer is kind of hard for you guys because the shingles probably scar.
Yeah, but it's really busy during the summer.
Okay, good. So you can definitely do your normal salary and then kind of adjust that. You can always give yourself a bonus paycheck at the end of the month or end of the quarter, end of the year, whatever you decide to do to bump it up to that 50%. You just can't take under what a reasonable salary would be. So yeah, I would set yourself up on a normal salary and then pay yourself bonuses.
Okay.
What about if I'm just not an S Corp, but which is sole proprietor?
If you're sole proprietor, I would tell you to go get your LLC tomorrow.
I have my LLC. I have my,
you have your LLC.
Paperwork. Right.
Okay.
But I believe wasn't one of the options when setting it up was as a sole proprietor, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I don't remember all the jargon, all the terms they use.
Yeah. So when you set up your business initially, you can set it up as a sole proprietorship, LLC, C Corp, partnership. There's probably a couple others that I'm forgetting.
Okay.
But you would actually have to select LLC and you'd have to pay the state filing fees. I don't know where you're at. Here in Texas, it's $300.
Right.
Which isn't much. Means that if I get sued, they can't take my house, which is where my girls live. So it's pretty important to me. You cut out there. Where are you at?
So no, yeah, I have the LLC. I have an LLC. I'm in my.
Have an LLC. Yeah, so you can just do as long as you don't have an S Corp election, you can go ahead and just pay yourself out of ownership draws. And so you would just take the straight 50% out of each job. But if you're not making enough to keep that 5% in the company for profit, that means it comes out of your owner's compensation. So you need to be bidding your jobs. You don't want to be the cheapest guy around 90% of the time. You don't want to be the cheapest guy around any of the time. Because if you get that rep, then one, people are going to think you're not worth the money you're paying them. Even if they're paying you really cheap, they're going to say, well, he's not doing a good job because he doesn't charge anything. And two, you're not going to make enough to survive. You have to be able to bid your jobs to where you're making money. Good money. You own a company, you should make good money.
I think he.
Yeah, I think you cut out there again.
Gotcha. I'm here.
There you are.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're still kind of frozen on the picture,
Hey,
but I can
I
hear
hear you guys. I don't lose you. I guess you guys are losing me though.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm not losing you guys. I guess you guys
Okay.
are losing me though.
Okay. So yeah, just bid those jobs. I mean, no, you don't want to bid them so high when you're first starting out, you don't have name recognition and people don't know how great your service is. It's hard to go and be the most expensive guy. But Brian, who runs the contractors only group, he lets people know right off the bat, I'm the most expensive out there. And he gets job after job after job because he does an excellent job. Now, starting out, can you do that? Probably not. But you don't want to be the cheapest guy because
Right.
people are, I've hired countless contractors. I have never once hired the cheapest guy. Even when I was dirt freaking broke, I never hired the cheapest guy because I don't trust their work. I have a 2,400 square foot house, and I had a guy offer to come and paint all of it, including trim and ceilings, for $1,500.
Damn.
And I was
No,
like,
I'm good.
that's like a $6,000 job. No, I couldn't buy the paint for this house for probably $1,500. So I was just like, absolutely not. Which I haven't got it painted yet, so don't judge the paint color. Okay, this came with the house.
If you're still looking for a painter, I do travel work. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna put that up.
I have a guy that's actually gonna do it. I just haven't got it scheduled yet. I lost one of my biggest clients a couple of weeks ago, so I'm tightening the belt. So
Gotcha.
yeah, gotta wait on that $6,000 job, but I'm hoping to have it done for Christmas. Okay. What other questions do you guys have? I know I went over a ton really fast.
I don't know if this is maybe an accounting question or bookkeeping question, but like I have two different business ventures. Is it all right that they're both under the same LLC, or should I have them under separate LLCs?
Are they both doing the same type of business?
No, I mean, one's property management. What I'm doing now is like property management, and then I've got financial advisement.
Okay, yeah, I would have them under two separate EINs. You can do a DBA and still do business under the same one, but the problem is if you ever get sued, they can take the assets of the other company. So say you're doing awesome in your other business, and then somebody gets hurt with the property management business, they can sue you and take all of the assets from your other business that's doing really, really well. So it's always a good idea to go ahead and separate those out and file two LLCs. And it's just getting a separate EIN and then filing for your LLC.
Gotcha. It's a separate percentages for each category. So going back to this slide you have here, the old or wrong way of thinking, sales, profit, expenses, sales minus profit, expenses. You say 5% profit. So I go ahead and get ready to close my invoice. The gentleman paid me. This is how you recommend divvying it up: 5% straight to profit, 50% towards me.
Well,
profit.
yeah, no. So this should be how you're bidding your jobs. When you go out to bid something, you should bid it with this profit model in mind, to where you're making that money come in and you can actually fulfill all those obligations. Otherwise, anything that you can't fulfill automatically comes out of your 50%. Because you've got to make that profit, you've got to make the Uncle Sam's taxes, and you need to keep the operating expenses down around 30%. Most of my contractors now are running between 30 and 40% for operating expenses, so 40 to 50% for owner's comp, which is still really good. But I'm still edging them towards the 30 and 50. So. I know that looks really drastic for some people. I've had some owners come in that they hadn't taken a paycheck and they'd owned their business for like a year and a half. And they're like, well, what do you mean owner's compensation? What the hell is that? And I'm like, no, that should be a part of your vocabulary. You should be getting paid with every single job you do. But it's hard because they're trying to be the lowest bid so they can get jobs, because when your phone's not ringing, you're desperate. You're willing to give away anything for anything just to be busy. I know, I've been there, okay? But once you start doing that, you're never going to get out of that trap. You've got to start building up your prices. And the best way to
No.
do that is I don't know if you're following Brian's stuff, but he does some excellent stuff with Facebook ads and Google AdWords, YouTube, helping
Who's
you.
Brian?
He's the guy who runs the For Contractors Only page.
Okay.
And he's got some great stuff that will really help just propel you to the next level. I didn't do it because I'm not a contractor, so I can't get testimonials about my bookkeeping and put them online because I would be showing people's financial information and nobody would like that. But I did go out and get actual testimonials, written testimonials for my customers. But he actually has you go and do lives every day that you're at a site. Hey, look at this job we're doing. It's just people seeing your name over and over again in your market area. And you're gonna start filling up with calls, and you're gonna be like, holy crap, I gotta hire some people. And it's a good place to be.
And then should I have my operating expenses and my profit kept separate in like 2 separate accounts?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Your profit, so your profit's not actually gonna go into a specific account. You're just gonna wanna have 5% left over, because what happens at the end of the year is everything rolls up into retained earnings, which is actually your profit account. But you can't code anything there in QuickBooks. So you just wanna make sure that in the calculations of it, so say you had a $500 job. Well, here, let's make this easy on myself. Let's say $1,000 job. You're gonna want $500 of it to go to you. You're gonna want 150 of that to go to Uncle Sam into your taxes. So I would say put it into a savings account, a business savings account. That way you can grow interest while it's sitting there. And then 30%, so $300 will go to operating expenses, and that other 5%, I would just go ahead and move it to another savings account, or you can move it to that same Uncle Sam savings account, which is probably more beneficial because you'll get more interest. But you just don't want it to all be going somewhere. You can't code it straight to profit, but you can code it to go to a savings account where you don't touch it.
Okay.
And then, a year down the road, your truck breaks down. Hey, I got enough money in that account to go buy me a new truck, or hey, I can go buy me an air compressor, or whatever it is. It's so that you can reinvest in the business. It's also great for Christmas bonuses once you get a really good team and you want to keep them around. Christmas bonuses, employee parties, that type of thing. And that's the other thing which I really have no right to speak to. Because I'm a bookkeeper and I have, I don't have employees or anything, but I will. When you find those employees, because they truly are hot, it's hard to find a really, really good member for your crew. Treat them well, pay them well, treat them well, do whatever it takes, but keep your good team members around. I don't care how you treat the other guys, but those good ones, keep them around, because they will make or break your business. So that's just my 2 cents. I'm gonna go back and show you, too far. That's my wise. Let's see. So this is the 2 slides that you missed. Just pretty much going over why bookkeeping is different for contractors. It's project driven. You have multiple locations or projects or classes, and long-term or short-term projects. Do you want me to go over any of that?
Long-term projects take months. So this work is done for long projects. The long versus short-term projects. That's actually my next job it's a long-term job.
Yeah. So long-term, a lot of the time you'll write into your contract that you're going to bill upon percentage complete, or a set percent each week. That way you can continue to manage your cash flow and pay your employees, pay for material, that type of thing. And so you'll just go and in QuickBooks, you would have your estimate and you would say, okay, turn this into an invoice for 10% or 30% or whatever percentage you had in mind. Just keep the cash coming in to where you can meet your day-to-day cost. Short term, that's more, say you're building a deck. You're not going to build a deck, but let's say you're building a deck. Do you have enough money in the bank to go pay for all of that material up front and pay your employees as the job is done? Or do you need the client to pay, say, 50% down? You don't necessarily always have to have them pay something down, but I would always have them pay something to where they have some skin in the game. Same thing for going out to bid a job. I would always charge them a small fee to go out and even bid the job. Because if you're driving around 2.5, 3 hours a day going to bid jobs, that's time that you're not getting stuff completed. And right now, with everybody stuck at home and the honey-do lists are growing and growing, people are calling contractors like crazy. Hey, how much would it cost for this? They have no intention of getting it done. They don't have a freaking job. They can't pay you to get it done, but they're bored and they're sitting at home and they want to know how much would it cost. So charge them something small and just tell them, hey, if you hire me, this goes towards your invoice. You know, you get this money. It's not like I'm just taking it. But I would always have them pay. If you don't decide to have them bid on estimate or pay for estimates, I would always have them pay something up front just where they have some skin in the game and they're actually devoted to the project. Otherwise, you're going to get clients that let you do it all and then don't give you a check. Or give you a check that bounces.
Yeah, no bueno.
Yeah. The other thing is to always have a lien on the projects. That way you can guarantee you get paid.
How do you do that?
You build that into your contract, and I'll ask some of my contractors if they've got like a standard template, but pretty much you can go in and put a lien on the property where if they don't pay you, they can't like ever sell the house or anything until they would pay you. Almost like a tax lien works, where if you don't pay your property tax and they can come and take your property. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Unless they don't pay their taxes too, and then the state wins, they get to take the property. But that's how it always works. Let's see that other slide. Oh, that just went over job costing and then construction billing, whether or not you use fixed price or unit price. Unit price is similar to cost plus, and then fixed price is based mainly on a percentage completion. You're probably familiar with both of those. You good on that one?
Yes, thank you.
And then this is where you came in. And this was just, if you ever hire somebody, make sure they're familiar with these. So, yeah.
You said this is going to be recorded, correct?
Yes.
This is recorded so that way we can reference it back?
Yep, absolutely. And these slides are also on the For Contractors Only. If you click on the files, this slide is there, or the presentation.
Awesome.
So, yeah, you guys got any other questions for me?
I don't think so.
Thank you for bearing with me.
Do you have an initial service fee? I was speaking with another bookkeeper earlier. She was like, it's probably going to be about, I think she gave around the same price, about $300 a month. And then she was talking some type of fee to get started. It was like $1,000 or something, like an upfront fee to get all the books situated. And
most of the time, I just did a 4-year cleanup that I had to go back. It's one thing if there's no bookkeeping at all, because it's a lot easier for me to go in and fix absolutely nothing than it is to go back and fix things that have been miscoded. So if there's nothing in place now, it's not going to be that much. I just did a 4-year cleanup that he had done everything, but everything was wrong. And I charged him $1,650 for 4 years. I don't think you haven't been in business that long, right?
August.
I'd say probably maybe an extra $300.
All my books fit,
really
all my receipts fit in one small folder.
Oh, it probably wouldn't be that much then. Yeah, I would have to look at it, but I can definitely do a free consultation with you. If you want to give me a call or schedule something, just shoot me a message on Facebook and we can set up a time. Tomorrow sucks. The kids have an early dismissal day. I wish they'd just keep school. They already booted them out half the year. Why do they have to come home early?
Keep them longer, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, so tomorrow I could do like morning time if you wanted to, like maybe 10:30, anytime after 9:30. Or I could do later tomorrow afternoon around 2. Are you Central Time in Georgia? You are, right?
Eastern.
Eastern
time,
okay.
right?
I'm really bad at time, so you're ahead of me, right?
Yeah, 1 hour.
Okay. So yeah, what time do you have a time tomorrow that would work for you?
For him, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, for either one of you. Otherwise I can do next week is good too.
For me, the later the better. Yeah.
Well, why don't you jot down my number and then just give me a call tomorrow when you know you'll be free. I have plans tomorrow evening around 8, but anytime before that, just give me a call and I can hop on a Zoom call and go over everything with you.
Okay. I think we're turning over the keys around like 3 o'clock, 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do anything fun tomorrow. I'm just actually gonna go out and have a beer for once. I'm so excited.
That sounds fun. I haven't had a drink since October.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Did you get my number off of the last slide?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, just give me a call tomorrow and let me know what time would work best for you, and I'll just hop on a Zoom call with you. Josh, what about you? Did you want to set anything up or do you want to wait?
Yeah, let's hold on, let me pull up my calendar. Can you talk about Wednesday the 16th?
Wednesday the 16th?
Have to be evening for me.
My daughter's got gymnastics on Wednesday evening, so that's about the only evening that doesn't work for me.
About the 17th evening.
Yeah, I can do 17th on the evening. What time are you looking at?
Like 6 p.m. my time.
So 7 mine?
5 yours.
5 mine. See, I told you I'm really bad at time. I'm better at books, I promise, guys. Yeah, let me shoot you a Zoom link real quick.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What's your email address?
Josh at refugeroofing.usa.com.
refugeus.com?
USA.
USA.com. Okay. I just sent it to you, so you should get it. Okay. And then, yeah, if you just want to give me a call tomorrow and tell me a time that works good for you, or if you want to meet this weekend, I can do Saturday early, like before noon, and Sunday I've got stuff booked all day Sunday.
Yeah, actually Saturday before noon might actually be perfect.
Okay.
So yeah, let me give you a call in the morning or shoot you a message through Facebook.
All right, perfect.
And from there, we could figure out a schedule.
All right, awesome. You guys got any other questions?
All right.
I might have some for you after we're done with the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, you can just you can shoot me a message on Messenger, or I can go over them with you during our meeting on the 17th. There's a bug flying around my office and it's driving me nuts. I am not crazy, guys. There's like keeps bombarding me. But yeah, I'll upload this to the contractor's website, and then you guys can refer back here. And if you guys have any other questions, just shoot me a message on Messenger, okay?
You got it.
All right.
Thank you
thanks,
very much.
guys.
Appreciate your time.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Have a
thank
good
you.
evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.